Coming at you from Stretch Wolf Studios. That's time again to Rage Across the Internet. It's your very favorite Werewolf the Apocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Porter. Across from me, my infected co-host, master of the one-man puppet show, Mr. Daniel Tyson.
Hey, everybody. That's disgusting.
And, of course, rounding out the cast, as always, our dear, dear friends, the poor man's Aquaman, but the rich man's Submariner, Mr. CJ.
Howdy, y'all.
And she's Rock'em Sock'em, the one and only M.
Hey, hey.
How we doing, everybody?
Great.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
That actually should have been the poor man's Submariner and the rich man's Aquaman. Submariner is better.
I agree. Original. Or at least more... Doesn't matter. Better. We'll just go stick with better.
And this is... this is Rage Across the Internet. Once again, your show dedicated to Werewolf the Apocalypse and other random shit that we say first.
Yeah.
If this is your first show, welcome.
If not, thanks for coming back.
Yes.
Happy to have you all.
It's a weird one.
It usually is.
Okay. You guys got me
I
out of
blame
this.
it on Danny.
That's the way to go. No, y'all got me out of the sick bed for this one. We're making our best.
Got your candy. You're good.
Yeah.
Wow. Did he get that from your van?
Thankfully not.
No.
I'd be sleeping right now.
Well, it's leftovers from the puppet show.
You'd be sleeping. That's the special reserve stuff.
Oh my god. And speaking of candy, it is aggressively November for you guys. So it's really not appropriate. But thanks for the time-averse.
Mm-hmm. We're still on the Halloween journey.
We are, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Because once again, if this is your first show, we do dive into all sorts of different topics and subjects revolving Werewolf the Apocalypse. But before we get into that, we get a little self-indulgent, and we do a little segment that we like to call This Week in Bullshit, where we go over just what's in our minds or hearts or what's going on in our lives or wherever the fuck we want to for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's our favorite part of the show.
Yeah, it definitely is one of them.
Well, I think it should be everyone's favorite part. Because if they don't like This Week in Bullshit, right? I mean, you should. Because it's generally a pretty good time.
Yeah, we have
a lot of laughs
exactly.
ahead. We have a good time
Jokes
with it.
and fun time.
But we talk about different things. So it changes things up from the status quo of every week of Werewolf. But also, if you don't like that, you should. Because the rest of the show is generally more focused because we get all this ADD shit out of our system in the top half.
This is having it just show up randomly throughout the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't do This Week in Bullshit, we'd still say all of this stuff. It would just be in the middle of a sentence talking about the Umbra. Right? It'd be like, no, it's important when you go through the membrane. Hey, did you guys see that new movie? And it'd be 10 minutes of that. So.
It's less of that.
It still happens.
It still happens. It's
less
just not as much. Now it's all focused.
Yeah. It's at least somewhat segmented. If you're not into the stuff and you just want the information, you can skip ahead. If you're into this stuff, then this is something to look forward to, especially every week.
Exactly.
Every other week.
Every other week, yeah.
And something we have been following has been Danny's Halloween horror movie journey. And which again, if you're asking yourselves, but Porter, Halloween's over. Screw you,
us.
we live in the time-averse. It's like the 20th of October.
Yeah, not for us, not yet.
Yeah. Fucking. So, Danny,
yeah. Now,
catch us up.
Last time I believe we talked about the fact that I watched Late Night with the Devil.
Okay, we believe that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you watched it.
Yes, I know
we
watched
have
it.
talked about it. Whether or not we talked about it on air.
I believe that was the last
That's a
time
couple
we
weeks
talked
ago.
about this, yes. Next was the wife's pick and we did a double feature that night because both movies were kind of short. And that was Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein. As in the originals from like the 1930s.
Yeah, we're talking Karloff.
Yeah. That was... It was interesting. I enjoyed them, but not like movies now. So you can...
I figured you would be terribly bored.
I was a little bored.
Just say that. It's fine.
They're... For that style movie and that time frame...
Well, like, look, I'm not going to bust your balls here.
Mhm.
Like, it's a good history lesson, but you are not a cinephile.
Right. I'll take the
Yeah,
history
I'm
lesson
starting-
and that's it.
I'm starting to get a good idea of the kind of movies Danny likes. And I think it's, ooh, pretty.
Thanks, Em. I appreciate that.
Hey, you know what,
I'm
though?
just compiling all the data in my head, and that's my calculation.
Okay. Well, we'll get there eventually, I guess.
But, you know, I'm giving you the out there.
Yes.
You know, like, Boris Karloff, that's a fucking classic horror.
Oh,
now, it's not scary by any stretch of the imagination, and they are much older movies. So, yeah, I could imagine you were just woefully bored.
Was, but at the same time, the wife, her favorite book is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. She has 12 of them. She has 12 Frankenstein books, and they're all the same. They just have different covers, different size books.
You should get the series. Frankenstein Goes to Washington. Frankenstein versus Big Bird.
Wolf, Young Frankenstein.
Did you say Frankenstein versus Big Bird?
I may have, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was one of her
I'd watch that.
It was one of her birthday presents one year. It's like I got her like a first edition. It was a nice cover.
You did not give her a first edition of Mary.
Okay, it was probably not first. I
Don't
apologize.
lie.
I lied. That was a weird
You
way to say
fucking
that.
liar.
I'm lying. I didn't mean to, but no, it was a nice version of it. The cover was super fancy. It looked nice. It was good. And then I realized she already had 3 others. Like, I knew about the one. I didn't know the other 2. And ever since then, she's gotten like 8 more. Like, why? It's
like
the same fucking book.
It's like the person who, you find out they like frogs.
Mhm.
Or someone lets out that they like frogs, so every year all they get is shit with frogs on it.
Yeah, like a frog mug and a frog shirt.
And they're stuck. This is part of their identity now that's been thrust upon them because one time they said frogs were all right.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I knew someone like that.
Well,
she would get so mad.
I will say I can understand it if it's like different additions throughout it, like different rewrites or like the expanded story, etc., with really cool looking covers and different covers.
Mm-hmm.
Or if she had bought the one from Barnes and Noble that's this is the special edition cover, it's got all the fancy stuff, and then wanted to get one that looked like it's an old leather bound journal.
Yeah, I mean,
I can understand getting 1 or 2 of those.
Maybe the scratch and sniff edition.
But 12 of them?
Yeah, but no, that's exactly what it is. All 12 of them are they look different, but they're all by Mary Shelley.
Well,
It's all the original.
I would hope so.
Well, there's other versions and other people's rewrites of it,
Jeffrey Morgan's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
something like that.
It sounds like it's time to have a nice big party and give everybody a copy and just do a read through.
Nice.
God.
Nice.
I will kill
One
myself.
paragraph each, just around the circle.
I will kill myself.
I'm going to
Go right back to
contact
high
her
school.
and convince her that that's your next party that
I
I'm not
will.
going to go to.
Kill myself. Oh my god, I will kill myself.
But okay. So you watched Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein,
Yep.
and you were terribly bored.
Yep, I was bored.
Let's talk about the interesting one that I want you to.
Yep. And
Talk about the thing I want you to, Danny.
And then the week after that was again my week to pick. By all that means Porter's choice, and we watched.
See, what's the sneak credit on it?
We watched Oculus.
I've been waiting for this one.
Holy fuck! Oh, this was good. Oh, that was good. That was.
Might need a reminder about Oculus. There's a couple things popping up with that name, but I can't remember a horror movie.
So it was a brother and sister, and there's some flashbacks of when they were children.
It's Karen Gillan and her brother, Guy. versus Demon Mirror.
Yeah, a demon mirror.
Oh, it's the mirror one. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah.
Holy fuck, dude. Oh my god. Oh. Ow. I didn't get the heart monitor to raise it like 104.
I was so sad I didn't get any email or texts during that going, oh my god, I want to die or anything. I was so sad.
That didn't happen. Because again, I like the psychological thrillers.
I know you do.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. I was scared. I'll fully admit that.
Oh, I'm certain you were.
Yeah, I know. I was terrified a few times.
But your heart rate stayed below 100?
I didn't check, but probably not. If I were to bet, it probably did not stay below 100. But I never checked, so...
Yeah, that movie spawned one of my very favorite party games.
Really?
Yeah, Apple or light bulb?
Yep. Because she took a bite of the apple, and then she set it down, and I was like, no, don't do it. I felt like that guy at a movie theater. I was like, Jesus. Oh, and then you hear the crunch, and like, that's not what the crunch is supposed to sound like.
So good.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough. But I like Karen Gillan. She was awesome in that. And Katie Sackhoff in that.
Oh, I love
Fucking
Katie
awesome.
Sackhoff.
Agreed.
I like Karen Gillan okay.
Yes.
You know, I got in on the Doctor Who reboot before it ran its course in my world.
Fair.
And, like, you know, Karen Gillan's likable. I think she's very likable.
Yeah.
I hated her character in
Really?
Doctor Who.
Oh, and Doctor... Okay, I was going to say, this was...
Like, Doctor Who, that was a low point for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not her fault. Certainly, she didn't write it.
Of course not.
But I just... And again, it's Doctor Who.
She did the best with what she had.
She did. And it you know, yeah. I think I didn't love those companions. And it didn't help that Matt Smith was not my doctor of choice.
Yeah.
You come off David Tennant, who was a legend, and then Matt Smith was kind of a Muppet. I don't mean that like a British into like, you fucking Muppet. I mean, like, he was very animated by Jim Henson.
Like,
and wacky.
I'll say this as somebody who got into Doctor Who very late. He's a great entry-level doctor.
I believe that.
And then go back and watch David Tennant after you've watched his stuff. It's fucking great.
Right, because like Eccleston, this will only be a second, I swear. I did not walk into this week in bullshit with Doctor Who on mine. This happened at us. You know, because I got
if
on board
I join in on this, it'll stay forever.
Yeah, you know, I got on board with that reboot too. You know, like some friends recommended to me. You know, you absorb that shit, and so like you go from the gravitas of Christopher Eccleston, and then you have what I call new Doctor sickness. You know, there's a new Doctor, and you hate the new Doctor every time because it's not the old one.
Right. Well, I'm
you have to get used to it. Yeah, you just have to get used to the new one, and it just takes a little time, and that's true for everybody. So be it. And then you get David Tennant, and Tennant was just the man.
So I've heard.
And then Matt Smith was a cartoon character. Like all the edge and anger and gravitas and depth to the character. And he got it later. Like there were moments later. But it took a while. And it was so jarring to go from
one extreme to another.
Right? From like Brando doing Hamlet to Elmer Fudd doing Hamlet.
Funny thing is, actually, this just reminded me, there is a production of Hamlet that the BBC did where David Tennant is playing Hamlet, and he fucking kills it.
Of course he did.
David Tennant kills everything he's in.
Did you see?
In such a good way.
Several people on AKA Jessica Jones. That was bad.
I don't watch that one.
You should have.
You shouldn't have.
Look, I enjoyed it, but...
Well, you didn't... Well, maybe if you don't read the book, then you'll enjoy it. I was very disappointed.
I understand why, because I know who Purple Man is, and he is one of your favorites.
Yes, and they completely rewrote the character for the show, and the problem is they did a good job with the writing.
Yes.
Like, here's the thing, like, I'm complaining about it while complimenting the writing. Because the writing was consistent with the direction they went, just the direction they went wasn't the character.
Right. I get that.
Yeah, if they had made it a new character.
Right. But I was so excited to
problem.
hear David Tennant was going to play the role of the Purple Man.
And that just wasn't the Purple Man.
No, he was just a petulant child.
Yeah.
And he did a good job playing a petulant child. But fucking... I wanted that ex-spy assassin who gained the sociopath who gained the power to make people do whatever he wants. The Purple Man is a sick, twisted individual.
Right.
Not a petulant child. I want it. Anyway,
yeah.
So yeah, you saw Oculus. This is what we were talking about.
I enjoyed it. That was... I didn't shove my face into the side of the dog.
That was a sentence.
I didn't cover my face with a pillow this time. There was plenty of times I was terrified. Oh man, the jump scares get me every fucking time. But this was good though. This was an awesome movie. It was WWE Studios. I did not know that.
I didn't either, and I was happier before.
Yeah, I know.
Why'd you do that to me?
Sorry, I thought you knew already.
Aren't those the same people who made the Leprechaun reboot? Yes.
Really?
Because there's a Wrestleman that's a leprechaun.
But I was like, but there was no Wrestleman in this movie. Or was there? I don't
in the know. Leprechaun reboot.
No, I get that, but like in Oculus.
No, we're not talking... No, keep up.
No,
I said the Leprechaun... Yes. WWCUs did the Leprechaun reboot.
Right.
Yeah.
They also did
Those
Oculus.
are two different movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't...
So are you looking for Wrestleman in the movie with it?
With Oculus? Because WWE Studios did it. So I was expecting a Wrestleman in there, but I didn't see any.
Hulk Hogan was in the background.
Oh. Well, if he was, I didn't even notice. Hulk Hogan was the mirror, wasn't he?
Yes. Son
of a bitch. This is solved. Good job.
Oh, entertained. I like how entertained CJ and M aren't.
Yep.
That was a lot.
Like, they're bored, right? And we're going to put this on the air.
Oh, why do you do this to me?
Jesus Christ.
You do this to me, so I do it to everyone else. Got it.
Help.
So, yeah. Oculus was good. And I know that was the one you were waiting for.
Yeah, I was waiting for that one specifically.
Yeah, I figured. Out of the list that I had...
It was that and Sinister. Those two I expected to really get in your head and fuck with you.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I decided to have fun. The rest, they took it easy on you.
Okay. And we still have...
The Cleansing Hour, which is something that like no one has seen, probably.
Okay.
But it was a little Shudder original that I caught a couple years back and I was kind of impressed by. It's not going to change the world.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the practical. It was nice practical effects, and we'll talk about that.
Was that the fun one, or was that Late Night with the Devil?
Late Night with the Devil was just the fun one.
Okay.
I don't even want to call that a horror movie. That's just fun.
Out of the list so far and everything we've done on this Halloween journey, I think it's probably my favorite one.
Well, that was the one that... I mean, remember, I told you to do that between Oculus and Sinister, so you get a palate cleanse.
Yeah. Yep, and I already know... Yeah, well, we'll talk about it next time, I guess.
Yes,
yep.
That's for next time.
Yep.
CJM.
Yes.
I've actually recently been going on a deep dive with some different games, along with Disgaea.
Yeah.
Bouncing between like 3 or 4 of them, and I've discovered a weird trend in games that... Specifically with 2 games that I don't know why, but I've been enjoying them extremely. And they have one similar theme about both of them. It is the premise that the entire game is set upon is you digging yourself out of incredible debt.
Interesting.
I know quite a few games like that.
Oh no, and whenever I say debt, I mean in like the millions, if not billions. The first one is the more recent one. It's Hard Space Shipbreaker, and the whole thing is it's a chill podcast sort of game. You're set up in space as a cutter, and your whole job is just decommission ships, so just cutting things apart and throwing shit into its space. So it's something you could have a podcast going in the background. It's just the more stuff you put in the right places, the more money you get, the lower that debt gets. The second one is one I know I've talked to Porter about. Danny, have y'all played Monster Hunter?
Yes.
Yeah, I've played a little bit.
Okay. It's a Monster Hunter-esque game. Where the premise of it is it's dystopian, like, ultimate authoritarian regime where, like, everybody is basically born into a prison system and into debt. You go out on these missions to hunt down these man-made monsters, to cut them apart and salvage the materials they're made of, to pay off that debt. So in between, you're playing this game of Monster Hunter, and throughout the game, the debt that you're paying off is to buy yourself rights. So the beginning of the game, it is anime as fuck. It's called Freedom Wars. Beginning of the game, your entire like hub area is a 5x5 room with a NPC that you could just say, I want to go on a hunt. Do your first hunt. Congratulations, you've now upgraded to a 10x10. Do your second hunt. Now you can officially save. And you're going through each time, and every time you do a hunt, you can either pay off some more of your debt or buy yourself rights. And it's everything from, like, you now have access to different weapons in a store. You can now take companions out on these missions. You don't have to achieve every objective. And just going down the list until eventually, like, hey, yeah, you're playing, like, a classic Monster Hunter game where you're going out and just grinding for parts so you can make a thing. It's that journey all the way up until the end. The thing that sucked about that game was it was a PS Vita exclusive title.
So
A year
4
or two
people
back,
played
they
it.
shut down. Yeah. A year or two back, they shut down the Vita store, so you can't buy it anymore. And if you did already have it downloaded, you can't play it anymore.
Oh.
The reason why I was talking to Porter about this a little while ago was they apparently stealth announced that it's coming back next year, like early next year. He put out a single video on a Tuesday morning. It was the announcement trailer that, hey, this is coming back January. It's just that weird little connection between those two games that I've thoroughly enjoyed. I'm like, it's weird that there have been 2 games that I've thoroughly enjoyed about you digging yourself out of crippling debt for some authoritarian regime. It's weird that it's happened twice.
Animal Crossing is another one.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, you gotta dig yourself out of debt for that authoritarian regime.
And I was thinking about student loans.
Dang Tom Nook.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're... Each time you go on a hunt and you salvage all these materials and you can either sell them off to get rid of the debt or buy new items to do better hunts.
Mm-hmm.
Is there incentive to just not sell off the debt? Or not put into the debt? Like, because I wouldn't. If there was no incentive to do it, why bother? I would just keep getting better stuff.
They lock better hunts behind certain, like, levels of debt.
Okay. Then there's an incentive there.
Yeah, and that's also how you get to, like, your story progression. Like, if you're solely going at it for just the grinding and, like, the unlocking all the material, and you can grind the first 3 monsters. They're the equivalent of, Great Jagras from Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
I love the Great Jagras.
That one's fun. I remember that was,
I just like to pick on him.
Yeah.
I see that son of a bitch lumbering around the map. I take a moment and kill him, no matter what. Sometimes I'll just let him rot, because fuck you, guy. I won't even do the carve.
The amount of times that it's, like, randomly shown up mid-battle with, like, the Ajax. And, like, distracted me for a moment because the camera, like, automatically pulls over to it when it's roaring.
It's a huge
Making me
little
miss
asshole.
a fucking dodge.
Yeah, get the fuck out of my way.
Yep.
I'm gonna put a saddle on you, Dan. Don't fucking mess with me. Em, you got anything for us?
Well, I mean, I have a few things, but what CJ was just talking about reminds me of a book I just finished reading, which I recommend for anybody who really likes high fantasy books. It's called An Inheritance of Magic by Benedict Jacka. And, you know, it was a really neat little book. And, like, the main character is, like, dipping his toe into the world of magic. And it turns out it's just, like, this weird capitalistic system. And he finds out that, like, some of the most common jobs are just literally getting yourself into debt. In order to do the job, you have to, like, buy this tool that makes the job easier or even possible to do. But then it breaks really soon before you even have time to pay it off. So you have to buy a new one, and you're just digging yourself deeper and deeper into debt. That's not what the book is about, but he figures that out in the book, and it was really interesting.
Story of my life.
What's this debt theme today? Jesus.
Student loans weren't bad enough.
Oh,
yeah, I want to make a little joke
thing
for
that
a
was
second.
talked about in there. Only the very rich. Only the very rich are the people who are able to, like, afford the magical items and, like, do the magic.
Oh my god.
Unless you can make them yourself, like he can, which is very rare. Very good book. Recommended if you like high fantasy.
Does he sell those to pay off his debts?
He doesn't have debts.
But you just said it. Okay.
No, he figured out that was like the scheme the rich were using to keep the poor in control within the magical society.
Just listen to the podcast, Danny. Damn.
Oh shit, he could be like the magical Robin Hood and pay off other people's debts.
Why would... No, that's not... that's not the book. It's much better than that. Like, he figures out that he's actually, like, a part of, like, this really rich family, but he's like, I want nothing to do with this. But then the family sees him as a threat to their inheritance, an inheritance of magic, the name of the book. So, like, one of them just, like, is constantly trying to kill him, and he's a lot less experienced, but he is, like, trying to find a way to persist and, like, be like, hey, guys, leave me the fuck alone.
Magic Johnson had a really interesting life.
No. It's a good book, though. Very good.
Wow. Okay.
So I was saying, I'm going to make this one kind of quick. Before I got waylaid, right? We got the little Doctor Who tangent. No. I was saying, because again, this ties back to Oculus as well. You know, like, I love Katie Sackhoff.
Mm-hmm.
Karen Gillian's fine. Love Katie Sackhoff. I thought she would have been a great choice for Miss Marvel, for Carol Danvers.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, she would have been great in that role. And I bring that up because I started a new show, I'm using quotes there, recently, that I found on Peacock.
Oh.
Starring Yvonne Strahovski, who would be my second choice to play Carol Danvers.
Okay.
And at some point during when I realized that, right, I'm like, oh god, how come they didn't get her for that role? And then I went like, is Yvonne Strahovski the poor man's Katie Sackhoff? And I feel like that doesn't do anybody any justice. But no, the show is called Teacups. Or Teacup. It doesn't matter.
Oh my goodness, I've started watching that too.
Okay, see, it's only 4 episodes.
I've never even heard of this.
We just watched the 4th one last night.
Okay, see, I finished it this morning. And
Nice.
I'm really fucking digging it. There needs to be more immediately. I don't know, is that what they're passing, is a season, or are they doing like a week-to-week release? And I just didn't know about this until now.
I think it's a week-to-week release.
I hate that.
Because I've been watching about one a week.
See, I hate that, but I love that there's going to be more then, because you can't give me just 4 of those and go, fuck off, see you next year. That's not how you do this.
Yeah.
I will tell you nothing about this show.
Okay.
It's 4 episodes. Figure it out.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. See, Em and I are both recommending it. It's not the first time that's going to happen, this even recording session. That's a good sign, I think, when
when you get
multiples of us going, no, this is the thing. No, it's 4 episodes. Fucking take 2 hours of your life. Shut up. What are you going to watch, a Michael Bay movie? Come on.
Well, I even go along with that and say I agree, because I was looking at the show Yellow Jackets.
I was going to say, how do you ever seen the show? What do you mean you
No, the show Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I recommended that to you.
That was fantastic. And then I caught up because it was like 2 seasons already. And then
I think that's done.
They were writing another season, but it got held back from the writer strikes, and I don't know if it's still going to go or not.
It doesn't sound right to me, the timing. But I can't imagine it's coming back at this point.
I hope so.
I have a theory as to why, but I can't say anything without spoiling the show. That was an interesting show. It wasn't a great show.
I thought so.
Okay.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I was intrigued enough for it to get good enough for it, but...
Mm-hmm. It fell off at some points, but it caught its ground again, and...
Yeah, so yeah, is it a singular or a plural on the teacup? I don't recall.
I think it's singular teacup.
I think so too, because there is a teacup. But
I mean, I would hope so.
I heard I want to say plural. I guess there's 4 episodes, so that's 4 teacups.
It's just singular teacup.
Yeah, but there's multiple episodes, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Maybe they broke one and they had to replace it, so now it's multiple.
It's like if you're watching it, do you watch 4 episodes of Teacup, or do you watch 4 teacups?
No idea. But okay, can I just ask, I just need one more comment about the teacup real fast.
Sure.
In that last episode, the guy that was like all dressed up in like the copish like uniform that was kind of mansplaining things to people. Who was that? Who's that actor?
Jeff Tarkington.
The one that talks like this.
Batman.
And he just sounds like this the whole time.
Yeah, I think you're describing Batman.
I couldn't, like, I'm just sitting there watching Batman, and I'm like, yes, that guy, yes. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna get you out. I'm like, dude, just
Jim Gordon let me know what was going on.
Yeah, Batman.
My only complaint about this show
is
that guy breathing for 5 seconds after every sentence. That's it. That's my that's my only complaint about the show so far.
This is such a minor complaint, and I can't even explain why. I mean, I can absolutely explain why, but I choose not to because we're recommending the show. Mansplaining. What are you talking about?
It's Batman.
Batman.
Well, the people he was talking to weren't very smart, though, so I guess just explaining.
Well, that's what that means. We don't have to be racist about things.
But he was doing the thing that, like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's so you didn't know he was really Bruce Wayne.
He's not that smart.
Turns out he was dead all along. Oh, that's Bruce Willis.
I knew what you were doing.
Fucking Bruce's. Get out of here, Bruce.
Don't bring me down, Bruce. Speaking of, this is how this happens.
Okay.
We actually have a show after this.
Yeah. Weird, okay.
There's a Bruce Willis... No, there isn't. There's a Bruce Springsteen. So many Bruces. It's like a concert, I guess, and there's like a documentary or some shit that's happening soon. I've seen a couple ads for it, but I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention, except to notice that Bruce Springsteen has gone from like, the Jersey rocker to somebody's grandpa. Mm-hmm. And I know he's like 84 years old,
Yeah.
But like, there he is with his guitar, and he's just like he just looks like Grandpa.
Yeah.
Like all dressed up maybe to go to the reunion. He's like a little Orville Redenbacher to him now.
Yep, nice little collared shirt.
Right, and he's got the cuff. He's got the one cuff, and that makes him a rocker. Back in my day. It's like, damn it.
I just looked up famous Bruces, and they're all grandpas.
Why is that what you looked up? Famous Bruce.
It's like a Jeopardy category. Bruce Lee, Bruce Willis,
shit.
Bruce Springsteen, Bruce Wayne, Bruce
Hornsby,
Banner.
Cockburn, Maddox.
Oh, Bruce Banner, yeah.
Famous Bruce. Yeah, that's the best.
Campbell.
I thought you said that one. That's why I didn't say it. Famous Bruces.
But there are, we just got multiples right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get...
You look up like famous MC Hammers, it's going to be a short list. It might not even include MC Hammer, frankly.
Well, yeah, he's not famous anymore. It's just one name. What? How?
Please, Hammer, don't hurt us.
He's too legit to quit.
Oh. And that was this week of bullshit. Because we have to do the show at some point.
Yeah, we got a show to do still. Yep.
Which is going to get... I think it'll get better better or worse for you guys, no matter what. We'll see how it goes for us, depending on how on the ball Danny is. As we do a new rendition of A Tale of Two Wolves.
Yep.
Which, Timeverse, by the way, Danny.
Uh-huh.
And I know you know this because you told us.
Uh-huh.
It has been a while. It has actually been a year.
Mm-hmm.
We are pulling fucking scenarios starting...
from October
2023.
23, yep. We said we're going to do more of these because we're trying to get them all caught up. And like, okay, let's go back to the beginning and see where we're at. And we've deleted the ones we've done.
Which is,
shit, we're still in October of 23.
So we might see some of these to get that log done real quick to get into this year before. The irony, actually, is we're going to get through 2023 by 2025. Is the goal.
Is the goal? No guarantees.
So then we'll be going through 2024 in 2026?
Something like that. Math's hard. Especially in the Timeverse, because you don't carry the two.
Just the one.
But only once.
Wow, yeah, 2023 is about half of them.
It's probably why there haven't been any for a while, because they don't do them anymore. Oh, shit.
Okay, so let's just get right into it.
Yes, let's do the feud.
This one is from Ghostpaw, number 1 from Ghostpaw. A Get Metis around and his pack go to Melfi's, and he's the only survivor coming out after going through the door of truth. He claims to know the ultimate truth. What do the player characters do with him? And we'll say CJ's first. We're just going to go in alphabetical order for the first time around, and then we'll rotate.
I mean, first things first, probably a rite of cleansing.
Good, solid point.
Nice.
Becomes one of those things of like, yeah, no, if this guy went to Malfi's, his entire pack died except for him. Unless this is like real late in the player pack's career, this is a take it to the elders and see what they make of it if he's not like horribly worm tainted himself. Because there is the possibility that he says he went through the door of truth, right? If I remember correctly, the other one's the door of, like, ultimate lies and everything. Ooh, so it might become a case of, like, the elders and or the player pack are going to spend a little while just fucking grilling this get. with every possible question they could think of to like try and establish, okay, is he actually telling the truth or not? Question is, what is that ultimate truth? Because there's an easy answer, and it's just simply 42.
42 what?
No, it's just 42.
All right.
It was reference.
Yeah, it's
It
Book
was
reference.
It was a math problem?
Dan, you not know this reference?
No.
That's from a book,
not.
dude. No.
It's also a movie.
Point.
What movie?
I've not read the book. I've only watched the movie.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay. Nope, don't get it.
Okay.
It's too nerdy for Danny.
Too nerdy. Okay.
I know a bunch of nerds in the audience will definitely get it.
Danny was too busy working out and giving wedgies to care about that nerd shit.
Working out maybe, but I wasn't a bully. I didn't give wedgies. I got bullied. That's why I had to work out, because I was sick of getting bullied.
Aside from that, I don't really know where to take this without knowing a little bit more details about, like, the Sept and the Elders here and, like, how they would react. Because, yeah, this is one of those... In my mind, the actual answer is, like, this becomes a take it to the Elders and either set up some challenge or just a grilling with questions to try and establish if this guy's story actually rings true. If we're not just going to mercy kill him because he's worm-tainted to all hell and trying to drag people down the spiral path. He's absolutely fucking insane by this point.
Alright, fair. How about you, Em?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I would assume he would come out insane, or just in of that a spiral, and it would just be a figuring out if he is not insane or not, which he probably is. I don't feel like I'd believe anything that came out of his mouth, though. I agree. It would be like, take it to the elders, figure it out. I don't really touch the Black Spiral Labyrinth, though. I don't know much about it other than that it drives people to insanity, and that's where the Black Spirals go to do their crazy shit, I guess.
To become worm-tainted?
I mean, aren't they already? But yeah.
Alright.
Deeper in there for their devotion to the worm.
And how about you, Border?
Well, this is kind of interesting. So, okay, what you do? I mean, obviously, we're talking. We're not talking the Temple Obscura there. We're not talking Dance in the Labyrinth, so that's fine. Obviously, he's got to live to get. See, clearly he didn't dance because he's here in the first place. He's here in the Sept. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of doubt. So, what you do is you have him present almost prophecy, small scale though. He's predicting the little shit. He's in tune to a couple little mystery secrets around the Sept. Maybe a kinfolk is pregnant. There's no way he would know that because he was off on the thing, but he's back now and he's like, it's a boy. And boom, there's little Jeffington.
Jeffington?
But really, most of these little prophecies are going to be involved in things outside of the Sept. There's doubt, but there's starting to become that seeded out. Is there certain spread? Maybe he's onto something. Maybe this guy does know the truth. Maybe he does know the mystery secret. Maybe following his path will take us through the apocalypse. It'll take us, he can lead the way. What you do at that point is you have to make the decision whether he's right or wrong. As the storyteller, it can be fun either way. If he is full of shit, you have it that spirals followed him and are making some of these prophecies come true.
Okay.
And it becomes, the players themselves get caught up in trying to verify if this, the truth behind this guy, and whether they have to deal with the forces of the worm putting his position as a false prophet or not. I mean, that becomes up to the storyteller which way you want to take that.
I like that.
Okay. I do like the idea of a little snag that you could make in this, a little twist, is that Spiral Pack, who is, going out there and making his prophecies real. It'd be interesting if this Menace had no fucking idea about it. He thinks he's telling the truth with all this. He's even buying into it. And the Spirals know, you went through the wrong door, dude. This is all bullshit. This helps us. And leading into that potential, maybe he starts buying into his own hype at some point. What happens when he is wrong, or when the pack prove that, this is just when Spiral's the entire time helping him.
Solid twist. Alright, now we have one from Hush. Say that your player's pack gets trapped in one of the near realms. What realm did they get stuck in? How did they get stuck? And how do they get out safely? And we'll give that one to M first.
Oh, me first. All right. What realm? How did they get stuck? And how do they get out safely? Okay, let's say they, oopsie daisy, you accidentally get stuck in a flux realm, or a flux-like realm. That's the one tied to the wild, creation and all of that other chaos. How did they get stuck there? Perhaps they were, just on some kind of mission within the Umbra, seeking some kind of knowledge or a spirit related to change, or in some way, either closely or distantly, and then found themselves on a journey through a moon bridge and gets themselves there by accident. The Flux realm we know has it's a very unpredictable reality. The world shifting around them constantly, forests turn into deserts, oceans sink up, or drown them, or attempt to drown them. So it's constantly changing. And in order to get out, perhaps they have to find the spirit they were looking for and understand its nature, or find the answer that they're looking for in order to find their way out. Just kind of seek out that mission that they were on originally, while having to traverse through this ever-changing landscape.
All right. Porter.
Okay. Well, the funny thing is we're going to be talking about this somewhere next year during a postmortem. But the fun thing about the thing about the near realms, right, is they all have their set laws, and in that includes pathways of entry and exit.
Uh-huh.
So as a storyteller, you already know how to get in and out. As a player, obviously that depends on the character's level of experience. So this is the ideal story for a young pack who is just bootfuck new enough to not know any better.
That was going to be my suggestion, yeah. Some brand new, never done this before kind of thing.
The Dream Chasers can get stuck in a near realm.
Yes.
The Silent Howl can't get stuck in a near realm.
Right.
They know the way out.
They've been there before.
Yeah, they already know the fuck. They're a seasoned guy, or they know the rules. The Dream Chasers don't know shit. They'll get lost in a near realm.
Yep.
So, which one to pick your poison. It doesn't matter. Don't send them to Wolfholm.
Ever.
Well, the problem with Wolfholm is the criteria for exit is kind of impossible.
Mm-hmm.
They have to completely understand and identify the plight of the lupus and embrace that in their heart. You can't fucking stumble upon that. That is like a deep fucking epiphany. Right. You're there for 8 years. Fucking, you're done. Make a new character.
Yeah.
That's it. To continue to run with that premise, what if you were to use the understood rules of that realm and still are not able to leave? Well, it's because you're not actually in that realm. You're perhaps in a mirror zone variant of that realm, or a simulacrum that is actually a pocket realm, some sort of offshoot. And that could become the thing, which in that discovery is its own issue. I think back to the show Sliders, which if you never get to see, I think it's on Peacock. You can check that out. It's about dealing with alternate realities and a group that would slid between alternate Earths.
I remember this now, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good premise until the network was like, you have to rip off the latest blockbuster movie every week. And it got bad. But there was like the episode where they get home and everything's perfect. Well, the one guy's not convinced. He's like, I thought the Dodgers won this baseball game 20 years ago. You know, like one of those things where it was their world only just like with a couple minor, it wasn't it though, there was a couple minor differences. And so you'd play it like that. To where discovering that you're not where you think you are is like 3/4 of it. Siege? Yeah, no, I just
This is one of those that it kind of originally stole part of the idea was I was going to go with an offshoot of Wolf Home. But thinking of a slightly different one. What if the pack has been traveling, they're on their way home after a long mission, a long umbral crawl or what, and it just so happens they end up, slipping into this umbral realm. Perhaps there was an umbral storm or something that gets them there. This is a dark and terrifying realm. This is a place of absolute suffering. Like, this is some horror imagery. Bring in some stuff from, like, World War II camps-esque level of dark. And as they go further and further through this, they start recognizing some locations that they've heard about through stories. And this is one of the ideas of the realm that they got trapped in is specifically of one of the elders. And as they're going through this place, recognizing some locations or maybe events left in like ruins from some of the stories they've been told, it's where they start revealing that this realm is Eapif, one of the dream realms, specifically of one of the Sep's elders. Maybe the person they look up to, one that they've only ever heard these glorious tales about. And this is one of the points of where they can start seeing the much darker side of those tales. Like, the story might be told of how this man single-handedly wiped out this entire pack of spirals. Going through the ruins of this battlefield, almost maybe through like a similar style to the battlegrounds. The only reason he single-handedly wiped out this den of spirals or whatever is because they took out his pack at the time. He had to do it single-handed because everybody else was dead. And getting to see, there's sometimes more to the story, and like, life of a Garu is not fun necessarily at times. There are some of these real dark and traumatic moments, even in your heroes. Even in these untouchable elders. And now the pack has to deal with, we know this, do we actually tell the elder we've seen this stuff, or do we just try our best not to let him know? Or does the elder know the pack was in this dream, and does he swear them to secrecy? Does he tell them the actual story now, and get to show a little bit more of that, like, yeah, these guys are mortal, they've gone through the shit like you have? I think it could just make for a interesting little bit of more flavor for an NPC that might need it.
I dig it.
Yeah. Alright, then we have one from Ginger. Kinfolk are reporting that murder-suicides have been occurring in nearby towns and cities. All the perpetrators exclaim the same mantra after their killing sprees. Blood for the blood god. And Porter's first on this one.
How are there survivors from the suicide?
Let's say they say it before they do the killing spree, and then before they kill themselves, they do this mantra, blood for the blood god. Let me add that to it for you then.
No, I want to give Ginger a hard time for a second. Ginger! You said murder-suicides. You said the survivors. How is this? Is this corpse saying it? This is the spooky ghosts. Such an asshole.
I'm assuming that's what she meant. I'm just reading it.
Ginger is a long-standing good friend of the show, and I will bust her balls. And she will get a kick out of it, so there.
It's how you know you're a friend of the show is when we can bust your balls like that on air.
Exactly.
Yes, this is true.
Oh, and that's from a movie.
I mean, it kind of sounds like it.
No,
It's from something, isn't it? I've
from
heard this
Warhammer.
before.
It's from Warhammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
See, I knew I'd heard it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
the full saying is blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
okay. Well, that's not what it is. That's not what it is in the World of Darkness.
Nope.
What it is, okay. Okay.
That shit-eating grin every time.
It turns out Pentex, has a finger in movie distribution. Big surprise. And so whatever, I don't remember this is. I don't remember if there even is one. It's one of those that they don't elaborate enough on. If it is there, that just slips my mind. But have been releasing a remaster of the Blade movie,
Okay.
which of course involved Brad Dourif trying to become the Blood God. So what has been happening is there has been these prints of this movie, so people are going to go see this remaster, and it attracts fans, which possesses, to try to make a new form of Gorehound, who are intent on doing these sacrifices in collection to awaken an ancient bane that has been sealed away at location X, whatever.
Okay.
That's what you get. That's what you get.
I like that, though. I mean, as much of a joke it was, I like it.
Some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah, I knew it. God damn it. Of course you did.
Warhammer at me.
All right, CJ, you're
You know what,
next.
Porter? Okay, cool, because I've got something that could make that even worse for you, Porter. Because I'm going to go with the Pentex angle as well. It is a collaboration between Avalon Toys and Black Dog Games to create a new line of basically just tabletop games, leading to a similar outcome of the Gorehounds, but specifically channeling into the rash emotions that come from people being sore losers. The people who want to flip the table. And the whole point of this is to just, as you're playing, you're getting more and more invested in it because you're spending more time and money. And this is like a beta run. These few cities are getting it. It's popping up in their local game stores and everything. And it's these little trial runs to see if they can make it just right. Because the whole idea is to create these people who are so filled with rage in the moment that the slightest inconvenience will set them off. And it just so happens that the little chant that they're saying might be from, the game itself. It might just be a byproduct of. It was one of the, common sayings plastered throughout these core books. And it's the way that, the pack might figure out that, hey, the game is what's causing this. Maybe there's something attached to these. It's one of the last major lines they read before whatever's in the materials gets their hooks into them. And it's a lot more of these murder-suicides are happening from people just losing their fucking minds over nothing at all.
I actually like that spin.
Yeah, it's fun.
I see the inciting incident for a pack being when a group of kinfolk, the nieces and nephews or whatever, there's a bunch of the preteens, they're not old enough to shift anyway, so no one's bothered by it. Or playing the game, and then someone gets a fucking game piece put through their eye. Blood for the blood god! And you investigate that. That's more than a timeout, alright?
Yeah.
Also, a timeout in the Garden Nation? Are you kidding me? But it's fine.
How about you, Em?
I'll try to take an example away from Pentex and all of their subsidiaries.
Ooh, bougie.
Sorry, what?
I said, ooh, bougie.
Goodness. Well, gotta shake it up a little bit. But perhaps there is some kind of worm cult made up of mostly spiralkin and spirals. Taking a little bit from you, Porter, perhaps they're trying some kind of ritual or something that they need a lot of death in order to summon some kind of bane or make something happen. They're just conjuring something up. And so what is actually happening is they're releasing these banes into the world, and they are possessing individuals. And they're becoming Fomori, where they then sacrifice themselves and kill one of their loved ones in a really horrific way. And they say blood for the blood god because one of the spirals just has a fucked up sense of humor, and this just by chance happens to one of the kinfolk that live nearby, which incites the need to investigate what's happening here. And so you come across a little group of spirals that are attempting a ritual of some kind.
What if that pack was led by Blood Dog and just they're all dyslexic?
Oh, yeah. See?
Yeah.
That could work, too.
Another good lead into this investigation. What if the kinfolk who was, affected by... What if their, significant other or their mate was one of the Garu of the Sept? So, middle of the night, they wake up and their fucking mate is trying to off them while just foaming at the mouth, just constantly muttering that blood for the blood god sort of thing. How fast would that investigation begin?
Exactly. Yeah. And you could also have things before this is happening or during the investigation, where Thurges of the Sept are getting dreams or visions of something big or devastating coming or some kind of ritual that's occurring, to kind of hint at what's going on, point people in the right direction.
And the Galliards could all be related to the Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah, and they could be dancing and making music videos.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, we ain't nothing but mammals.
Stop it.
What happens when we take a joke premise and make it an actual thing?
Brother Mouse says, a wandering pack of glasswalkers arrive at the player's sept. The Alpha says that they have found trees and plants growing in the cyber realm rapidly. Is the story true? And if so, what is causing it? And CJ, I believe you're first this time around.
So it's actual trees and plants are growing in the cyber realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just this wandering pack of glasswalkers coming to talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to change up a little bit.
Yes, the story is... Yeah, it's one of those things of I'm trying to think, because ultimately if that story is true and the pack wants to investigate it, and yeah, it becomes the trip to the cyber realm becomes the main crux of the story / how are they getting there, let alone if they don't have a glasswalker in the pack. But assuming they do get to the cyber realm, I'm gonna say this is one of the cases of the story is true, but not completely. Now, this is the case the glasswalker saw something. The original pack that came here saw something that was so fucking out of left field. They got a little close to it to see some of the grass growing out of the concrete ground is real. And Mew's okay, we gotta go tell people about this. Not knowing this is all part of the scheme. This is a artificial growth. This is stuff coming out of the equivalent of a lab, but being placed out in the open to draw more Garu into this area of agents of the Weaver or some little subroutine of it. A spirit with enough intelligence to be able to think for itself to make a plan, and this is ultimately a trap. The idea is a Weaver or one of its agents that is setting up this area. It's allowing these things to grow almost in a somewhat sterile environment like a lab. And the whole idea is this is purposely made to get people's attention, to go and get them to tell others about it. So 1 or 2 packs come in to investigate, ultimately to be experimented on to see if the Weaver might be able to figure out how to get better control over these Garu in this area. It goes, hey, look, it can grow its own plants in this realm. It can take this section of the wild and make it manageable. Maybe it can do it to other things with a touch the wild in it. And maybe this is ultimately a ploy for whatever spirit of the Weaver it is to try and figure out a way like, hey, we've caught the worm. Maybe we can catch the wild next, but we need to figure out how to do that. So let's start small. Let's start with just basic nature. And then let's start working up once we get some of that figured out. And eventually this step becomes like, hey, the Garu are the ones ultimately fighting on its behalf right now, because if we can get them under control, more dronify them using this little section of trees, then ultimately the pack goes there, probably is confronted by the spirits, and it's up to them whether or not they fall for the trap or not. Do they get too close to the spider web?
Okay. I like that idea. Playing the long game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Em?
All right. The plant growth is actually a result of a fucked up Pentex experiment. They've taken a wild spirit somehow, corrupted it, and sent it into this realm. And with that, they are attempting to corrupt the spirit so that they can continue to take what they learn here and spread it throughout. So as they go in to figure out what it is, they will actually come to the conclusion that this is indeed a wild spirit. These are indeed plants growing here, but that the spirit has been corrupted and experimented on by Pentex or one of their subsidiaries, and it's just trying to do even greater harm to the planet once they are able to get this data out. That was a lot shorter comparatively, but
oh, it's fine.
It's the first thing that came to my mind.
That's what we're hoping for.
Just fucked up experimentation. And with it, maybe the plants start to spread too quickly and start to take over the realm, corrupting it within. It's getting out of hand. I don't know. Could be fun.
Yeah. Porter's got some crazy ideas rolling in his head.
How do you know?
See it in your eyes.
You can't see my eyes.
I can too.
Some weirdo. There's a microphone in the way. It's being creepy at me.
He just installed his X-ray vision.
Yeah.
He's looking too high. My eyes are up here. Not down
my
there.
God.
Those are interesting takes. I go the other way with it. It's legit, sort of. It's the internet. It is a. I don't want to say a residual, right? Because it's not what that word means. But this is a result of the speck of chaos and randomness from the internet culture in of itself. I don't know if I want to go so far as to say an evolution or perhaps an anomaly. Who's to say?
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, there are legit wild spirits and legit plant life coming out of the cyber realm. And everything that's supposed to be there is going apeshit about it. Okay. So it becomes on those who this is brought, attention's being brought to this, obviously. Mm-hmm. So whether they can figure out the genesis of this or not is a little bit immaterial. It becomes what do you decide to do? Do you keep this here? Right, and help try to nurture it to let the wild give a new form of a foothold in the cyber realm and perhaps strengthen it, even though it is sort of sprung from the Weaver in the first place. Almost like a virus, right?
Yeah, it's kind of how I'm seeing it.
And it's even then, it's not purely not purely a wild spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little Weaver touched. Maybe akin. Maybe this is the start of something akin to the Scar. An amalgamation between the Weaver and the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Which, holy fuck, what? And then again, what do we do with this? Do we nurture it, hoping that it'll ultimately strengthen the Wild, or do we take the risk of making something fucked up in worse? Because we don't know.
No, there's the possibility either way. It's a conundrum.
You could also run this, you could see this fitting easily in, the modern day where the internet is in everything, and now it's starting to show, these signs in the cyber realm, where if you did this a couple decades earlier, you get the true fucking Wild West of the internet plus whatever is going on in the cyber realm right now, and that could really flavor what is showing up there.
And I mean, you're not wrong, and regardless of how you have this all materialize, it is a new thing in of itself can be fucking terrifying because of the greater implications that have to be there for it to have showed up in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to be done. What that something is, you don't know. Is it leave it alone? Is it get rid of it? It has to be something, though. Yes. Oof. Ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist is not a very good option. I like that. Next one we have is from Ghostpaw.
Never heard of him.
A wild plant leaks through the gauntlet heavily and causes a massive overgrowth to swallow up a town, leaving nothing of it, and also creates strange kinds of horrors. Like creatures, banes, whatever, all within.
Well, it wouldn't create banes, would it?
No, it wouldn't create banes. Just strange horrors, then. We'll just leave it strange horrors.
Yeah, I think you would ad-lib, and you shouldn't have.
You're right. I shouldn't have.
Gotcha. I knew when he went off book.
Yeah, well, I had to reword a few here.
It creates all sorts of weavers and vampires and stuff.
Fine. I went off book. It was a mistake. I have been caught.
Yep.
You weren't even looking at it. Yes, I know.
Of course I'm not looking at it. That would be cheating. In fact, I will say that real quick because we haven't described A Tale of Two Wolves in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is where people send in their ideas for I guess us now. Originally it was just me, but to make into a story or an arc.
Like a plot line.
Right. And so the crux of this is I haven't seen any of these.
Right.
Because if I had seen them, then that gives me the chance to plan something in advance. The point is that I'm doing this off the cuff.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what it says. I just knew as soon as you said Banes and Wild. Sorry, go on.
We know Ghostfall knows the difference.
Wow. Yes, Ghostpaw knows the difference. Danny ad-libbed where he shouldn't and fucked everything. But I believe Porter is first now, so get that.
Well, right. Now the joke's on me. I don't really know what to do with that because there's the story. I mean, are you asking me what caused it? Are you asking me what is to be done about it? I mean, if you're going to make that into something more than it is, right? I mean, I guess maybe it has extended dangerously close to a bond of a local cairn, and it's drawn a lot of attention from the media, and now we have a very serious veil breach situation on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess at that point, if this continues to happen, and maybe that's the way you do it, is this springs up on a smaller scale in various areas around this maybe this town or maybe the satellite towns around a city, which would culminate in having to find out who is doing this, who is causing, because someone has to be causing this at that point.
Of course.
Otherwise, there's nothing to do here. And stopping them Because while, yes, you are strengthening the wild, and that's what we want to do, veil breach.
Yeah.
We can't have Gorgons. We can't have cedars running through town square in Willow's Pass. That's a party foul.
Party foul.
Speaking of, stay tuned for chapter 5. Cedars in Town Hall.
Jesus.
It's very
That's why the
ominous.
lights are always on.
There's been a cedar this whole time.
He does paperwork at night.
That's right.
Oh,
It's cheap labor.
Oh, that'd be really good if you went last, because it's a good one for the next roll. But we'll,
Not too bad.
CJ, you're first, or you're next, for that matter.
I broke his cheese so hard calling him out on that main
Yeah,
thing.
you did. Yes, you did. Everything is all messed up.
I was about to say, are you just editing Porter out of that last bit?
No.
Stop
It's-
ad-libbing, Danny.
It's funny, so I can't take it out because it's worth it. It's worth the laugh.
He can.
I
is the
can.
thing.
But I don't. It's worth the laugh.
I am gonna take this in a... This is something that's happened like decades ago at this point. This is something that nobody has heard about, that has been a massive cover. The pack on their way from a job or on their way to a job stumbles across, this old rusted chain link fence that's like way too fucking tall for it's like some urban decay where it's like abandoned house. And they start seeing like these warning signs and everything. And I kind of want to make it to where this little town that got swallowed up by this wild font has been kept under wraps by not necessarily like a government agency, but just, some big Pentex-esque agency, or, just free agents, could be mages, whatever. That's not the important part right now. But I kind of want to do a small arc of them making their way through this area, discovering this facility, and basically uncovering, like, under the town now is this Cabinet Woods-esque, like, facility of these monsters and creatures from the people who used to live here. And kind of, what do they do about this? Do they just investigate? Do they try and destroy it? Maybe do they try letting the wild font out more after it's been contained and cause like an almost SCP level, like foundation level breach of containment? Or does this become a thing of maybe the pack gets captured by whatever agency is controlling it, and now it becomes the escape attempt while dodging these horrors that are escaping while they are?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
fun. I like it.
Then M's last for that one.
Yeah. So, I'm going to edit it slightly.
Okay.
Instead of it saying demolished it completely, or whatever it said.
Devouring and swallowing whole.
Yeah, instead of devouring and swallowing the area whole. There is some kind of, like, unexplained storm coming towards, like, the city or the town, somewhere near where the sept is. And it's caught the attention of all the local news, because there is no way, like, we're in the middle of summer, where the fuck is this storm coming from? Or we're in the middle of winter, where is this tropical storm coming from, right? So it's caught the attention of the local news. But the direction that the storm is coming from is an area to which the sept does have some rain. Perhaps there's like a group of kinfolk living up there, or maybe a couple guru protecting something up there. Who knows? Insert what you will there. So they send a pack up to the pack, the player characters, up to investigate to see what's going on, because maybe they haven't heard from these individuals in a while. And when they get there, they find out that this is the heart of the storm, where everything is originating from. All the people here are maybe engrossed in, or maybe they're all dead, around some kind of artifact, artifact holding a very powerful wild spirit. And they have to somehow calm it or release it elsewhere, so that it doesn't continue to move forward and consume the nearby towns and cities.
I like that one.
I do have a second idea that popped up just a little way through M's explanation.
Go for it. That's what we're here for.
This is not a wild font. Going back with this has been here for a while, but making it more of a set piece, a little experimentation / discovering the depths of this place. This is a town in the middle of nowhere, America, in the middle of like a flyover state. This is a place that nobody knows exists, but occasionally you'll hear like, oh yeah, I'm from X, Y, or Z. Always a little weird. But nobody knows, nobody's ever really been here, or this is a place that everybody's just like driven by. Nobody can really remember this town. This is just middle of nowhere America, small town. It's got the one main road, it's got the diner, it's got the city hall, and that's it.
Right.
I want to say this is a place that, time is forgotten, and pulling in a little bit from the Wild West, this is a broken lance that has never quite healed. The gauntlet here is 1, if not 0. And it's a place where people are living right next door to these monsters and treating them like their neighbors. Nobody thinks anything is weird in this town. While you're here, it's a place of just, like, absolute insanity. Treated as normal. Old Grandma Ethel down at the end of the street bakes cookies for everybody and, like, comes and delivers them to some of her neighbors because, hey, you're like, creature from the Black Lagoon's stepson just came back into town and I figured he'd like some chocolate chip cookies. All the while the guard were walking through here, seeing, like, this Slenderman-esque guy, like, crouched up on top of a light post, just, like, Batmaning and watching everything. Oh, that's just John from across the way. We know he likes looking into windows, but he's not hurting anyone.
Oh, shit.
And, maybe the mayor is a cedar, so you actually get to go like you're going to town hall, and there's a cedar sitting behind a desk in a fucking suit.
I feel like this has devolved into a weird, like, anime or a Studio Ghibli film.
Mayor McSeed.
A little bit of, like, Twilight Zone and, like, Studio Ghibli-esque, like, just, like, weird but wholesome at the same time.
That is a thing.
It could be a fun, just, like, one-off, like, your pack's going through some really tough shit recently. They've lost a couple people. Maybe this is a, like, little bit of a lighthearted session as they uncover this place. And ultimately don't remember how to get back here whenever they try. So now whenever they tell the story, everybody's thinking, are you just fucking crazy? There's the one guy who's like, yeah, I've been there before. Like, just some one random sept, but nobody ever really thinks there's much weird about it.
No, I get it.
I want to go back to Porter's for a quick second, just because it's if you remember what you said, I mean, I hope so. But, like, this next one from Brother Mouse again. This was kind of related to that one. So, while passing by some local children, you notice them playing a game of pretend, and they start using familiar names and terms: Black Furies, Shadow Lords, Fenner, the Silver Crown, Claves. Has the veil been breached?
I suppose it depends on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, has it? I mean, the obvious thing here is that those would be kinfolk. Or, well, they'd be kinfolk anyway, right? Whether they knew it or not. That's easily a case of Uncle Jack or Daddy or Mommy sharing bedtime stories about great heroes in hopes that their kid will fucking grow up to be a proud member of the nation. And maybe they're sharing that kind of thing with their friends. The same way that when you were a little kid, you would play Ninja Turtles at recess.
Fuck yeah.
And maybe there were some people who didn't hear about Ninja Turtles. That's not super likely, but shut up and run with the premise.
No, I like it. It's sweet.
Right? And it's like, well, you get to be a foot soldier. Well, you can be Splinter. Well, who's that? Well, this is who Splinter is. You're Splinter. I mean, I actually have a very clear memory of doing that with X-Men in, like, first grade. Is Pride of the X-Men.
They used to do a Scooby-Doo.
Who isn't heard of Scooby-Doo?
They don't have any powers.
Also that, but... but no, you play
ripping
Scooby-Doo.
people's faces off. That's a power.
And I mean, no, like I remember having to do that with X-Men. I saw Pride of the X-Men, the Marvel Action Hour, back in 1980, fucking whatever. And I went to school that Monday. I'm like, let's play X-Men. Everyone's like, what the fuck is X-Men? Because we're all 6. And I'm like, well, there's a guy whose skin turns to metal, and a guy who shoots lasers out of his eyes, and then there's an Australian that has claws.
There's an Australian with claws.
But you don't know the character, so you kind of have to. Same thing. It's the same thing.
I like that. It's a good idea. All right.
Joke's on you.
No, I know. It was an obvious. I don't want to say obvious, but yeah, there was definitely a kinfolk situation.
Oh no, yeah, it was right there.
Yeah. So don't have to go too far into that one. And if you guys have something, go for it. If not, we can go on to the next one.
All right, non-kinfolk scenario here.
Okay.
These are not only being played by kids, but some of these have been released in some of those books with the werewolf. What are those called again? The comic books, the action bills.
Okay.
But turns out, kind of like with the Station 2 or Station 3, a guru has been captured, and they are like either probing its brain with their Pentex technology and taking the knowledge out and using it with their subsidiaries. And so you find out whenever you break into Station 2 and you break out the guru, or they're already dead.
All right. And CJ, did you have something for that one? Or again, we can, because that was just a quick one.
I mean, I could offer a small little twist of like going with the kinfolk thing, but it being lost kinfolk. This is stories that have been passed down from like their great grandparents who just disappeared one day. And while they've never been like in the nation, or, it's been so long since somebody in this family line has bred true, that you have these kids who are telling these stories, who are playing these games and not really knowing any of it's real. And maybe it starts that investigation for the pack of like, maybe we go check in on the parents, see if they know anything. They don't know anything, but they mention like telling these bedtime stories to their kids because it's something their grandparents, and like, maybe somebody does the rite of heritage just to be sure and find out at some point. And it's like, hey, congratulations, you found this lost line of kinfolk. Or is it important? Like, are they tied to somebody important? Or, hey, look, you can bring more people into the nation. It's ultimately up to you.
All right.
Turns out it's a Larry morning kill. Sorry, Albrecht, you're going to melt now. Crown goes to him.
All right. Then we have one from Operator. A spirit resembling a local cryptid, like Mothman or the Jersey Devil or Skunk Ape. Skunk Ape? Skunk Ape?
Skunk Ape.
Skunk Ape.
Yeah.
Okay. A spirit resembling a local cryptid appears and offers to be the pack totem. But this is the first time anyone's even met this spirit. And, what was the rotation here? I think...
Just pick one, no matter.
I think we're back at
And
the top
just
of the
so
order.
you know, just so you know, Skunk Ape is Bigfoot's cousin. I'm not joking.
Yeah, that's not,
Oh, really?
You've really never heard of this?
No.
Oh.
Not joking. You didn't seem to know what Skunk Ape was, so
Nope.
I thought I'd let you know it's Bigfoot cousin. So,
I thought you were doing
along those realms.
Nope,
It's like Florida Bigfoot, I think.
Okay. No, I know. Now I know. I mean, it's just, I didn't know, never heard that before, never seen that before.
Well, it's not real. You'll never see it.
The word. I've never seen the word.
A skunk is a real thing, too, Danny.
Yes, so was an ape.
You had trouble with the skunk part of it.
But he's got it all in one word.
Well, it is one word.
I didn't know that. Hell, it could be skunk ape, for all I know.
Skunk Cape.
CJ, you're first.
Part of me wants to say, like, this is a issue of... I mean, I can't use Mothman, because if I remember correctly, Mothman's an actual, like, Gorgon.
All of those are Gorgons.
But I could see a local cryptid in this case. Are they?
Jersey Devil's a Gorgon too?
Huh, neat. But I could see a spirit, like, taking on this image. You know, something to do with the local cryptids. And one part of me is thinking that it could be something benign, as it's just it is a jagling that is trying to force its way up into, like, the level of totem spirits and being, like, overly ambitious. It's like, you know what? All these packs have a totem spirit they're following, and so making this deal with a pack to be like, yeah, no, I'll be your patron spirit, I'll be your totem if you start following me and start, you know, just telling everybody about me. I can see it being something like that, where the spirit ultimately doesn't do much. It is just a raw spirit of, like, misplaced ambition taking on the form of one of these cryptids to try and, you know, hype itself up, try to build some reputation for itself, even if it's ultimately nothing. And I can imagine this thing following the pack around, just pestering them over and over until either their actual totem steps in to, like, shoo this thing away, or maybe the pack there has to convince the spirit to leave them the fuck alone as it starts interfering with, like, missions.
A very coho Jack.
That's kind of fun.
Em, you're next.
I really don't really have much for this. Like, perhaps it's... I guess you could twist it, and it's, if the pack isn't careful, they start letting in and start following, like, a worm-tainted totem that's just trying to disguise itself as a plot to get into the local sept. Like, for the nearby black spirals to, like, infiltrate their way in. What better way to do that than to try to corrupt some young guru forming their first pack?
It's an easy in,
Perhaps the Right Master was being impersonated. Perhaps the Right Master was really sick, so maybe somebody else had to step in, and that individual was, like, working for the Black Spirals, been tainted, and is kind of like a double agent, I guess you could say, probe. And
You know, when you put them in the middle of a sentence, I can't take them out.
I know, it's funny. I didn't do that with the intention of you taking it out.
Of course.
Did that to Tom Porter.
I'm not taunted, I'm amused.
Anyways, but yeah, so it's just maybe a worm-tainted totem sneaking their way in to corrupt a young pack so that the local spirals can find their way into the sept.
Porter has some concerns, or at least questions.
Do I?
I'm sure
I don't
he
know,
does.
It's just, or is it just that?
I'm just sitting here, man. Just waiting my turn.
It's your turn then.
Okay. Well, again, I don't think there's a whole lot of meat to this, but, you know, has been brought up. These are all already wild spirits. You know, Mothman is a Gorgon. Jersey Devil, that he was listed in the first Storyteller's Handbook. And that was before the Book of the Wild, so I believe before Gorgons were... It might have been before Gorgons were created.
Mm-hmm.
So the Jersey Devil's a Gorgon.
Okay.
But no, these already exist. And the thing is they're not pack totems. Which you could go, so the end. But what's fun is that? The intriguing thing there is the idea that these wild affiliated spirits, or in this case, just flat out Gorgons, would come to a guy in pack and go, I would like to be your pack, your pack totem.
Mm-hmm.
What? that is such a bizarre and unheard of concept that your pack would have to entertain it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would this mean?
Yeah.
In terms of empowering the wild, in terms of the relationship between these spirits and your, quote, regular Gaian spirits, your regular totem pantheon, what does this mean? Now, you of course have the conflict between whatever pack totem already exists, because you're going to have to make that decision to abandon your pack totem.
Yeah.
To try to perhaps create history. But also, what is that going to mean? Ultimately, these are wild spirits, which means that if you go along with it, and you should for the premise for the story,
sure,
the pack becomes wildly erratic because the totem is wildly erratic.
Yeah.
And prone to withdrawing support, to leading them on wild goose chases, or who the fuck, they just become an agent of chaos. And perhaps if they embrace it because they want to think that they can wrangle it in and make the fucking triangle peg fit in the round hole, or the round peg in the triangle hole.
Either way.
That, you know, they too become more embraced by the wild in that more chaotic and get further away from who they truly are. Wild tainted, if you will.
I like it.
Yeah, that's fun.
I could imagine them having to deal with a constantly rotating, like, totem ban at this point.
That's right.
This week, you have to.
Oh,
this week, you cannot.
Not even a week, because that's too structured.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How about, hey, it's mid-combat, suddenly your ban is you cannot use the right side of your body.
Or you must make sure that every step you take, the first one is the left foot.
Yep.
It's just at random times.
Like, let's not make it wacky, but yeah, maybe at random. Yeah.
Order food. I'm sorry, you're vegan? Meal ends. All right, you can eat meat again.
I'm sorry, you're vegan too.
Oh,
everyone get a cheeseburger.
I can't eat red meat. You know this.
You can do anything if you believe in yourself.
Yep.
It's
I
pizza
really
time,
can't,
everybody.
though. It hurts.
All right. Then we'll say this will be probably the last one for today because we still have a ton. And we're almost out of time. So, we'll make this the last one here. This one is from Buddhist. The pack comes across a lost cub that has gone through their first change. The lost cub just turns out to be from black spiraled kinfolk. What do they do next? And I believe M is first for this one.
All right, so I'm relying on secondary knowledge of my own brain right now. But I remember when reading about rites, whenever we did the rite episode, there was an Uktina rite that was not 100% effective. I'm almost wanting to pull up. There is another one here. It's a Child of Gaia, right? Okay, so maybe the Child of Gaia here found them. And you have to witness. So this could just be like a little side thing, because the first thing that, when you said this, popped into my mind was one of these rites. So maybe you just have to witness or take part in or help out with this rite and converting this young thing to be a guru, if that's even possible. But with Child of Gaia, it might make sense. It's the sin eating. I don't know if this would work with that. But I'm sorry. I wrote, what the fuck? Lays a meal in the hands or the chest of the body they wish to cleanse of the worm taint, and they eat a meal from that body and transfer that
like after they die
to themselves. No, it's dead or alive. I wrote that in parentheses.
What?
Dead or alive.
Whoa,
Well, I mean, it's a Child of Gaia, right? And that book
It is. It was wild. I loved it. It was so wild. I'm sorry. I like wild things. So they transfer the worm taint themselves. So perhaps they transfer a small amount of worm taint to a large amount of people, because perhaps this area is struggling with getting like new guru. And if you could cleanse this spiral,
he's not a spiral yet. He's just a kinfolk.
Oh, a spiral kinfolk, honey.
Well,
it's a spiral. It's going to be a little tainted.
He's Garu. He hasn't walked the spiral yet. He just had the first change.
Wait, is he kinfolk or is he Garu, Danny?
Well, he's Garu
you
now.
said both.
Well, he was kinfolk.
He wasn't.
Okay.
I don't transform. This isn't Pokemon.
I know. Okay. He hasn't walked the spiral, but he made the first change. So that's all we know. He's just a Garu right now.
So he's not even a spiral. He's just from spiral stock.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so perhaps with whatever taint he has, these Child of Gaia put a meal in his hands, and they eat from it to cure any taint that might be on him residually from being within a spiral community or nearby a spiral community, and then they indoctrinate him to the Gaian way. Okay. The fun things that I learned from those rites.
All right.
Sorry, some of those rites were wild, and I loved them.
Border's next.
Well, this is a trap. This is obviously a trap. No tribe on the planet keeps better stock of their their potential changers than the Black Spiral Dancers. There's no such thing, asterisk, right? Mm-hmm. No such thing as a black spiral that just falls between the cracks. Right? You get knocked up by a spiral kinfolk, whatever. You're on a list, and not like the fun list we joke about all day. But you are tracked down. If you run, you are hunted. If you show up at a sept, so does an entire hive to get that motherfucking kid back. Like, we know that. That's how this rolls. So guess what? If you find a kid, and it turns out he's of Black Spiral Dancer stock, you're about to get raided. If you pick this kid up and you're running with them and you're like, hey, you're going to do a rite of passage with us and come back to the sept, that sept's getting attacked by the end of the chronicle. That's what's happening.
Damn.
Beautiful.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I knew that, but just didn't really put two and two together in my head until that moment.
No, this is a fucking setup. This is a lore.
I like that.
I love it.
Which it would be good because, again, yes, it makes sense that the Black Spirals have. There's a reason they have the most.
Their network is fucked up good.
Yeah.
And there's not a version of the Book of the Worm that doesn't say that giant fucking letters.
Good point.
So, I mean, of course, your sept doesn't have access to the Book of the Worm.
Right.
That's not how this works.
You can absolutely
so you'll
make
fall
the story.
for that.
Yes.
You're going to go, look at what we did. We found a lost cub. Hooray. And we took one from the enemy. And meanwhile, Magomra and Garo Shit-Eater are going, oh, they fall for it. This is fucking beautiful. Someone get the Thunderworms.
Yeah. Because a brand new pack will fall for that.
Right? Someone find the warder. I'm going to drag my balls over his face before we take the cairn. Might be the name of the story.
Dragging my balls over the warden.
Not the most fucked up thing I've named a thing.
That's true, too. All right, CJ.
Yeah, follow that.
Round us out.
I'm actually going to play with it just a little bit. Similar concept of like, yeah, no, this is...
The balls?
Yeah. No, the spiral cub who the hive knows about.
Oh, okay.
I kind of want to say, I want to play with it in just a slightly different context of, the pack and the sept have just finished clearing out a hive. Clearing out hive that's been nearby. So it's been a harrowing thing. People have died. The sept is low on numbers. They've done it. They've kicked out these spirals. And somewhere in this hive, in being prepared for their first change, being prepared to like almost force a first change, has been one of these kinfolk. Or one of these cubs who hasn't gone through it yet. And maybe at some point in the aftermath, as everybody's getting out, this cub, something happens, this cub pops, it shows up as this first change. Somebody in the sept, decides to take pity on the kid because he doesn't know any better. And now you're having to deal with this pack and sept trying to unindoctrinate this kid's fucked up life. You know, maybe he's a part of some prophecy, so this is why they're taking a chance on him, but being raised as a potential Black Spiral, your priorities are going to be fucked up. Your morality is even more so.
Mm-hmm.
And having to deal with this call because, you know, he's important somehow. You don't know how. You just know this elder is telling you, you have to take care of this kid. You have to teach him what it is to be Garu. For whatever reason, he's not quite telling you everything. So now you have this little fuck up shit that you're having to deal with every time you come back to the sept, having to teach him right from wrong, and at the same time having to deal with the just shit this little kid could put up or could just start causing around the sept. Of course, having to cleanse him in some way, shape, or form, but I can see this being is this necessarily worth it? And this becoming like a sort of sticking point in contention. Where this is a trap. This has been a trap the entire time because they know the network is that good, or they have the idea. The Sept Elders have been keeping this kid around to lure the Black Spiral Dancer leader who got away from that hive. So that's why he's trying to make this a 2-for-1 deal. You get a new recruit after this pack helps unindoctrinate this kid, and we get a second shot at the big boss of those spirals.
Alright. It actually it reminds me a little bit of a character that I wrote but never implemented.
Okay.
That Danny a little bit helped inspire, insofar as the character's name was Eric. There's a deep cut. But it was this idea of this.
Who's Eric?
Exactly. This little toe-headed kid who was brought into the sept. You know, he was allegedly going to be an early changer, and so he was prepped to become. It was prophesied he was going to be, and he was just a little fucking psychopath.
Oh, yes. Now I remember.
Yep, who eventually would have had to be put down like an 8-year-old that you're going to have to kill.
Before he makes too many mistakes.
Well, because he's in the sept, just being a little psycho murder guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like maybe things came to a head where he stabbed the wolf kinfolk to death because it nipped at him when he went to steal the thing's food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we can't. But anyway, you know, insofar as the being taught wrong and having to be corrected, it also made me think of, you know, a few months ago, maybe a little longer, time-averse, I did an NPC of the month for Winter's Howl, who of course had a background as a Black Spiral Dancer. And, you know, and I know CJ, you had this.
Yep.
And Danny, you read it because everything that goes through the channels. You know, I inserted sections when I went through that character's backstory of some pretty fucked up practices in his life, but I wrote them as if they were perfectly normal because that was the perspective we were going through.
Yeah.
You remember this, CJ?
Yep. It's part of the inspiration for this idea as well.
See, there you go. So yeah,
I had my idea, yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, his mother and father loving, and his sister blew him anytime he wanted, and what? No, that's normal for him. Right? He grew up off the hive. And of course, that you might ask, you viewers, you listeners, they're not viewers, they're not seeing anything. Listeners out there might go, what's the NPC of the month? Well, that is the Moon Silver tier of for our backers. We have several tiers for our backers over on our Ko-Fi. That's ko-fi.com/Rage Across the Internet. That's a place you can go to donate, become a member. Again, several member tiers. There's the NPC of the month, which is an NPC from my personal Bible, sort of rewritten and remastered. I do one fresh every month to get the best version of that character.
Yep.
As sent out to those backers. There's also the Postmortem series, where we go over various stories that I've run. And, you know, we go over the plot, we dissect them, you know, talk about some of the pitfalls and running stories, some of the things you learn, some fun decisions that people make.
Essentially reliving each of those stories all over again.
Right. It's kind of like a bonus episode, but following,
Chronicle.
Actual played Chronicles. We also have, of course, our backer movie night, and there's our backer game team. Just, this is a great way to support the show. And if you are not in a position to do that monetarily, we totally understand because we know what it's like out there. We also live in this world. Oh my God.
Yep.
So we understand. And at that point, we just say, hey, help us out with word of mouth, with good reviews, 5 stars.
Shares and likes.
Right? I mean, you know where you listen to us, be it Spotify or iTunes. That's really still a thing, I swear. I mean, we're on Amazon, which I keep forgetting about.
Yeah, we're on Pandora.
Yeah. When you speak of us, speak well.
Yeah, Podbean, Stitcher.
If there's a podcast, we're there.
Yeah. And if we're not, tell us so we
can
be. Yeah, because we're supposed to be.
We got to pick up those 2 or 3 listeners. Then again, if they're on a platform that we're not, then how are they hearing this?
That would suck.
Take that,
so word of mouth helps.
Hey,
exactly.
Right?
Word of mouth.
That's the probing questions. And
Jesus. Oh my God.
You just gotta put it in there every now and again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, that was a nice segue. If you're, interested in helping, we could definitely use the help, and we're certainly thankful for it.
Yes.
We didn't do much showing today. We got to do that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a little bit's fine. Just at the end.
Oh wait, where can they find us again?
Anywhere you get your podcast, but I think you mean I think you're asking for the website.
The website, yeah. I'm wondering where is your website?
Well, it's on the internet, and the fun thing about what an asshole
it's growing grass now.
Whoa!
No, the fun thing about that is on our forums there is the link to our Discord.
Yep, come hang out with us.
That's right. We keep that hidden. It's hidden. We're using air quotes here. It's the news and announcement section of our forums.
Yes.
Why is it there? Because we want just a little bit of like a speed bump for people to go over to keep the bots away. And it's worked like a fucking charm.
Yes, it has.
0 bots.
That, and it gives the opportunity for people who are looking, because there is some really cool shit in those forums.
Yeah, the forums don't get used a lot, but there's some cool shit in there that you should definitely check out. We'd love for you to anyway. But yes, you can get there through the website, which is rageacrosstheinternet.com.
.com.
Good call, huh? And with that, the man doing the editing says it's time to end the show.
It's been a fun one, and again, we have a long way to go. We're not even out of December yet, so we're not even out of 2023 yet.
We have to do these intros quicker in the future.
Yeah, well.
So, but hey, on behalf of everyone here at Scratchwolf Studio, CJ, M, Danny, myself, we want to say thank you so much for listening, for your support. You backers, especially, thank you for your continued support and for your purchases on the shop. You guys are kicking ass.
Fuck yeah, they are.
I love seeing all the mugs.
Right?
The mugs, the shirts.
And a lot of people have the same mug as me now, which is kind of fun.
And the War of Rage plushies.
Yeah. A lot of those selling too. That's super cool.
I thought we would have sold like 2 at the most.
Yeah, I'm shocked how many of those have sold.
Yeah.
People are digging. That's great.
It's so awesome.
It's amazing.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yes, absolutely.
We will put more stuff up as we find cool stuff to put up. But anyway, on behalf of everyone here, thank you so much for your continued support. And, we do this. It's a labor of love.
Yeah.
We would love to be, like...
Oh, if I can make this my full-time job.
Oh, my God, in a second. There'd be more shit, too.
Oh, yeah. We would
I could just do this, we'd be doing more of this stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're not there yet. Though if you got on that Ko-Fi, enough of you.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
They would, even if...
I mean, it's true.
Yes, I know it would be.
Anyway, again, thank you so much. We appreciate the shit out of you. And we will see you, next week for the next of the Let's Play, the actual play. You can't play. So I just said Let's Play. You're not invited to play, but we've already played it.
Yeah, we've already played it, though.
It already happened. And then, real episode in 2 weeks. So anyway, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, keep your claw sharp, your head in a swivel. We'll see you.
There's an easy answer, and it's just simply 42.